they had in place an actual Disney song, and I was like, "Are we doing like a Disney song?" And they were like, "No, no, no, we're gonna make our own." Her opening promo that's saying like, "It's my turn now," and I was just like, "Oh my god, I'm sobbing. This is crazy." I'm like, we're different people, but we're
Before we jump into this video, let me present to you the comment of the day. This comes from Loopy Sausage, who commented on Songbird voice actor interview. Playing games for 26 years and no other character has genuinely made me cry and feel heartbreak. Minji definitely deserves more roles. Thank you so much for the comment, Loopy, and you are absolutely right. She definitely deserves so many roles and she has done such a great job. If you want your comment to be featured in the comment of the day, just comment down below. And if you're listening on Spotify, you can comment over there as well. And now let me present to you Frankie Kevich, who played Conduit in Apex Legends.
Yeah, oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me and congrats on 50 episodes.
Yay.
Or 50 guests. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I'm so honored to be here.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful journey overall, but I've been loving all of your work really. Your short movies and everything else that you've been part of. I'm a big fan of horror, so I watched the first thing I watched was horror, and I watched this short movie that you did called Sonant, and I was really hooked into it, and I really liked it. So it was really cool to watch that. How, like, what is it like for you to like shoot different type of movies? Because I know you are into also comedy and you've done some horror. So what is it, all of this like acting journey for you been like so far?
Yeah, I think you know, a lot of it has also just been the try everything, absolutely everything, and see what sticks, you know, spaghetti at a wall. And so I think you encapsulated it pretty well of horror, comedy, and voice acting has kind of been my life for the last 3 years. Yeah, I started really pursuing acting and actually auditioning in 2020, as basically as soon as the pandemic hit was when I really was delving into it. I was like, you know what I need is a new career to be pursuing in the middle of a pandemic. And so a lot of the first like acting roles that I was getting and the opportunities that I was getting was just people that I knew in my network of friends and creative people that were working on stuff. And a lot of it ended up being horror. I myself, I don't watch a lot of horror just because I get really cerebral and a lot of anxiety about just things in the world. So horror always really freaks me out, but I do love being a part of it just because it pushes you to the limits of boundaries and stuff. You have to put yourself in kind of like the worst situations possible and really fully commit to it. And I love that challenge. And it's a lot of fun being part of it, especially because then you get to see the behind the scenes of, okay, like you're not an actual monster. It's fine. Like seeing people on horror sets that are just like dancing around in the absolute most horrifying costumes ever is absolutely hilarious. And it's in a weird way more scary just seeing these terrifying little masks that you'd be like, oh, so like what are we getting for lunch? And you're like, get out of here.
Yeah. It was also scary for me because I remember watching Stranger Things last like season 4, and Vecna was the character who was like the scarier creature, and I was seeing that person just drinking coffee and I was like, that is still scary to me. I can't. So I totally understand.
Just like just petting a white cat basically. There's something in seeing a horrifying being just doing very casual things that is very unsettling. So yeah, I have done a lot of horror stuff in there, but then I do love doing comedy things too. My partner, he writes a lot of sketches and stuff, so I've been part of his sketches, and I feel like it's 100% commitment in the exact opposite direction of just being weird characters or being absolutely insane. And I'm always 100% on board. Like, yes, 100, yes, I can do that. Yeah, this year's been a really fortunate year. I'm so blessed. I got some cool on-screen projects that are coming up that I'm very excited to share. And then when Apex came out, it was actually as soon as I finished a feature film filming out here in New York, and about like the day after I left, And it was sad because my family's out here. So I was hanging out with my brother for the longest time. And we were like, man, my video game is gonna come out soon. I can't wait. And then when it it dropped, I freaked out. It was the day after I got back, and I was like, well, now you're just gonna have to, play my character. um,
Wow.
and it's been a very surreal experience, and the community's been really great, and seeing everybody really enjoy her has
Yeah.
been really rewarding, and uh, you know very it's put me a lot at ease. I feel like there's a lot of anxiety when
Hmm.
you've already done the work, you've already done the recordings, it's out there. I hope people like it. So after having seen a lot of positive comments and stuff, it's definitely put me at ease.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I know like a lot of people are really liking. I liked when I saw the trailer first. I really liked the character like immediately, because the first thing that happens
And
in the trailer is that you start singing, and I was like, that came out of nowhere. And then Revnant just started singing. I
yeah,
was like, this is great. And so I love that. And I know a lot of people had this question of like, did you start the singing? Was that your idea? Whose idea was it? And how did it all happen? So like, what was it all? How was that thing? How did that
yeah.
thing all happen?
Definitely not my idea. They brought it up to me when when they haven't fully cemented down the song. They were saying, so we have this idea. Can you sing? And I was like, good question. I can sing. I don't promote myself as a singer. I don't, you know, really sing that often. And I feel like, the people that sing, like they sing.
Oh yeah.
Obviously Darren, who did the whole Rev song. Oh my God,
Oh my God.
that is a stinger. Um, so when they came up to, they were like, "Can you sing?" I was like, I can sing. Yes, sure. I will do it for you." And so they sent me the song about like a week before we were actually recording it. I did see kind of like the storyboard stuff where they had in place an actual Disney song, and I was like, "Are we doing like a Disney song?" And they were like, "No, no, no, we're gonna make our own." And so I was like, "This is very, very cool." But also a lot of pressure. So I was practicing it nonstop, just make because they hit one note that's really at the top of my register, and I was like, okay, you gotta psych yourself up for it. So a lot of warm-ups in the car before going in. And um but yeah, as soon as we got in, it was just a lot of fun. We tried a bunch of different takes, and it turned out really well, and
Yeah,
so I'm super happy that it's out there, and people were surprised by it for sure. Looking
absolutely.
back at all the other trailers, I'm like, this is definitely different. Yeah.
I love that. I did not expect that to happen. And when that happened, it was like that comic relief. I was like, this is not what I expected. Then Revenant started singing. I was like, that is not what I
Yeah.
expected. And then it just
Yeah.
turned out to be a comic like, and I loved it because it was like the comedy, and he's
Yeah.
singing, and then he's like, the next scene he's like, no. And I was like, that's great. Loved it. It was so cool. And I love this, how the
Yeah.
trailer kind of introduced this character in a way. And so it was really fun. So did you get to like work with him at the same time, or was it completely different recordings?
I didn't. It was for different recordings. So I just
Yeah.
had a chance to like connect with him on Instagram after it all like came out. But yeah, I did not get the pleasure of recording in studio with him.
This character has been out for a while, and people are already enjoying it. I like her abilities and her ultimate and everything. And you said that you've been looking at people's responses, and they've been very positive. And I love that people have so many things to say. What did you get to see, like videos or streams? Do you check those things out on a like regular basis or something like that? Like, do you do that?
Yeah, I try to kind of keep a pulse on things in general. So I deleted my Twitter, my ex account
Mm.
before she came out because to be honest, I thought there was going to be a big migration to a different social media source, and there was not.
Yeah.
So then my entire account got deactivated by the time it all came out. And I know that for gaming, for voice acting, it's a very big popular spot
Mm.
for people to like, connect and like for the community. So I joined that pretty late. But I did like creep for a while, seeing I'm really a big fan of the fan art, like everybody that's
Yeah.
doing Conduit artwork. I love to see that. In terms of streams and stuff, and not like I do get sometimes people sending me stuff where they're just annihilating with Conduit. I'm just like, amazing work, beautiful, like 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Uh, but in terms of like, I don't, people get very technical on it, and I
Mm.
appreciate that. But I know that sometimes, people also have some complaints about things, and I'm very sensitive. So I try to limit
Yeah.
the amount of times that I'm going online to creep myself, because that sometimes, like, it'll be a million things that'll be positive, and I'm like, yay, I'm so glad everybody likes it. But the one
Yeah.
negative thing, I'll be like, okay, that's enough internet for today.
Yeah, that's the same thing for me. Whenever
Yeah.
if somebody's saying like five positive things and that one negative thing, like he is right.
Yeah.
He's right about saying that. I knew it. All those positive things, not good enough.
Yeah.
That negative thing.
Why?
So I totally, and to be honest, in multiplayer games, especially like in any multiplayer game like Apex Legends,
Okay.
the community is kind of divided with some great positive stuff and a hell lot of negative stuff. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
toxic behavior online with everybody, and so it's very hard to
Yeah.
stay active with the community. So there's like certain spaces that you can be safe with, otherwise people are just complaining like they can make the games and they can do the voice acting or acting or anything. So it's crazy, the people's opinions and all that stuff. So I also don't delve into it, but I'm happy that you get to see some positive, because fan arts are something that I blows my mind
Where
because people are so
Mhm.
creative.
Yeah, and it makes me happy that like a lot of the lore stuff
Mm,
does resonate with people.
yeah.
So that's been meaningful.
I also got very touched by the story. The story was very cool. I love art style. I love storytelling. I'm a big fan of dramatic moments and all that stuff in
Hmm.
stories. So I really loved how it was going, and the story for Conduit. When you got to know about like how her story is, what were your personal thoughts on it?
Yeah. I loved her so much. She's so tragic too, such a tragic
Yeah,
figure. Every time I think too deeply about, oh my gosh, she's actually like killing herself with a battery, I just
yeah,
start wanting to bawl. But gosh, she is such a cool character, and I really am just so honored to play her. I remember when I got the audition, I 100% didn't think I was gonna get it. I didn't. Also, they're using code names, so I'm not
mm,
wasn't sure exactly what the game was. I saw, a battle royale type stuff. And I was like, okay, I never booked these. So, we're just going to have fun with it, really. And then I started looking through her stuff, and they were saying, if you can speak some Tagalog. And I was like, oh, okay. These are all words that my mom has yelled at me at some point. I can do all of these. So then I tried it out, and she was just so funny. She was like a really, really fun character. And so I was like, you know what? Probably not gonna get it. Let's just get weird with it. And I remember they did have the one quip in there, like, and player the game is, and it was a different name, but I added in at the end, just like, well, yeah, like
yeah.
little screams for myself, because that's how I would hype myself up, and then be like, oh my god, it's my turn. And that was really fun. And I think that actually was one thing that stuck out for them in the audition, because they were like saying the callback they liked it. I was like, yay! It's the little choices you make.
Yeah,
But yeah, she was just a really, really positive person, and I loved that. And I think that that resonated with me a lot, of just trying to be a positive person and not wanting to bring more like toxic negativity into this realm of stuff. So I really enjoyed that part of the character. And so when I was hearing about her backstory, it really is tragic.
yeah.
She's like so selfless about it. She's
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'm doing this for my family. Like, I don't care what I'm sacrificing. I'm
Yeah.
here for a good time, not a long time. She's the definition of YOLO.
Oh man.
I'm in awe. Like,
Yeah.
this girl.
It's a tragic story, and I was like, oh gosh, like she's also
Yeah.
dying. She's a big fan of this Apex Legends, and then she's also giving like this kind of sacrifice at the same time. And because
Yeah.
I didn't, because of the first thing I saw was not the stories first. I saw her characters. I was like, what are these stuff on her shoulders? Like it's glowing. There's something's happening.
Uh,
Like I was like, what is that? It's like
Chloe
probably a
thing.
design. I don't know. And then I saw the whole thing, and I was like, okay, now it makes sense. And now it's like, oh
Yeah.
gosh, like this is, so I'm always wondering like what's gonna happen in the game. It's like in a few months, in a few years, what is gonna happen? So I just feel bad at the same time, like if they're gonna go that way, is that actually gonna happen? I'm like, oh gosh, like, so I just felt really
Yeah.
bad. And it's just an interesting way to have a character, because I've not seen that, especially in
Yeah.
multiplayer games. You don't have that kind of depth for a character who has who's going through this a journey.
Mhm. I'm holding my breath too. We're gonna see. Hopefully they can save her somehow. And it is, but there's been some lines here that we've thrown in where the battery literally is hurting her, and
Mm,
so I've had to record those, and I'm just like, dang, this is sad. Like to imagine, I try and get like, oh God, there's like little jolts of pain here and there, and she's just brushing it off, she's just
mm,
brushing it off type thing, and I'm like, I'm only doing this once for this one line, but this happens to her multiple times. This is
yeah.
really quite sad.
How long did it take for you to like complete the whole work?
I think we did around like 7 sessions, about like 4 hour sessions each day. We did the quips first actually, which I thought was funny. It was a lot of fun like the very
Yeah.
first day, and then by like day 3 or 4 we're just like over there, over here, 3 different times. Um but it was a lot of fun, and the team over at Respawn and Apex, they're just so delightful. Everyone was really really nice and really open to just me playing around and
Mm,
being kind of silly with stuff. Of course, the writing is fantastic,
yeah.
and they made her a lot of fun. But we actually ended up finishing on my birthday, and that was just
Oh
a surreal
wow.
experience. I think, and I think we did some of the promo stuff. So it's on my birthday. I'm coming in to like huge studio recording, and it's all about her opening promo that's saying like you know it's my turn now, blah, blah,
Mm.
blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm sobbing. This is crazy. So I'm like, we're different people. We're different people, but we're just getting this huge opportunity. We're like a rookie in the games. So it was really meaningful.
Last moment was on your birthday. That was pretty cool. And you get to do a line like that as well. So that's amazing. I
Yeah.
think that's a that's one of the great like birthday presents, I feel like.
Yeah.
But do
Trying
you
not to be conceited, but I'm like, I am a main character in my life.
do you remember the time when you first got into the studio and it's your first recording day? What was going through your head? Like what was going at that time for you?
A lot of nerves, a lot of because I met everybody basically at the callback, and everyone was out super sweet, and they were really positive and really outspoken about how they liked the stuff that I was doing. So I felt like in very good hands, but I think just it's a daunting thing. Apex has been around for so long, and
Yeah.
it has a really great fan base, and so many people just love the game, and I just want to do it justice. And especially, it being a Filipina character, like I studied a lot to try and get my pronunciations on point for everything, even before I came in. But I think just a lot of pressure, that I put on myself, and um, I think it definitely got easier as we kept going along. It was nerve wracking, but also just a lot of fun doing it. Like I mentioned, we started with a lot of the quips, and it
Mm.
was it was a really great way to, I think, get into the headspace of the character.
Yeah.
Which the headspace is really just excitement. Like she's happy to be part of the games, and she's happy to be there, and a big fan of everybody else.
Yeah.
Which is funny. A lot of the little quips that she has with other people is just being. They were like, we don't want her to be too fangirly. Don't make her too
Mhm.
fangirly. So it's like, okay. So she's like putting on a thing of like, it's really, really cool. I'm trying to keep it cool here. So it was all
Yeah.
coming from a very genuine place.
I think one of those things, like where you mentioned, like being nervous and all that, that happens to me every time. It's like
Yeah.
no matter who I talk to, and it has happened to me even today, like
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
before, like 5 minutes before I am supposed to talk to you, I was like, oh gosh, like oh, it's all nervous. It's just growing up. So
Yeah.
I the reason I always ask this is because like I know there's like other people out there who go through this, and I don't know how they figure it out, but they figure it out, and they do a great job. And you've done such a great job voicing this
Um,
character, being this character. So it's like kudos to you. Like you did go through it, and you did fantastically, because I love the quips. And as you mentioned, like this,
yeah.
she's a big fan of characters, and she's like I saw one of the quips was like, or one of the dialogues was like, she's a big fan of Valkyrie. And but when there's like
Here.
interactions between her and Valkyrie is like kind of surprised by what she's saying, like, oh, yeah, sure, like something like that is like what Valkyrie says back, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. But I love the fact that how Conduit is so excited to be with the other legends and be around them,
Yeah.
and so all those dialogues are amazing. And I think one of the relationships that I like the most is between Conduit and Gibraltar, who have like they always call each
Yeah.
other like brother and sister, and so it's
Yeah.
like cute bonding there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
it's really wholesome.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun because he's another, support character, and like he is just a very kind of protective presence.
Mm.
And she very much looks up to him. Um, and I remember when they were talking about it, they were talking about the relationship they have, and it was really sweet and it was really wholesome, and I appreciated that a lot. So I'm glad that people are noticing that too.
Oh yeah.
It's a very wholesome relationship.
Yeah, and she's a very wholesome character. I love how she is energetic and she is like so
Yeah.
happy, and I love that. I love all the dialogues that she says. It's all happiness. I love that positivity. And
Running.
so like it's so cool to like play as her and then have listen to these kind of what the dialogues and the quips and everything, and it's funny at times. And I remember she also kind of mimics. I don't know if you did motion capture work as well on the game. um
No, that was somebody else.
yeah.
She did so great in like in capturing all of the
Yeah.
humor, and that was the fun part, but also a little. I was like, you want me to like start imitating people?
Yeah.
I was dead, so I was like, I made sure with the like triple check. I was like, okay, you sure that's good, right? That's you like that, you like. I'm not just like out here making fun because I'm not trying to make. I'm genuinely like such a fan of everybody, and so
Yeah,
glad
that's
people get a kick out of it.
absolutely. And did you when did you get to see like the kind of like a full design of how she looks like? Like, was that during the recording process, or did you got to see the best version of her later on?
Mhm. I think I got a quick glimpse of her at the start of our recording sessions. They were still, finishing up the designs of the characters, so I saw it here and there. I definitely saw all of like the armor and stuff that she was wearing, which was
Mm.
really cool. But I think features and things have like changed, so it was really when everybody else got to see her, I got to see her.
Oh,
And it
wow.
was, yeah, it was a very, very just cool experience. I also thought it was a little funny because I was like, we have the same haircut, which is crazy. I'm like, should I just cosplay as myself?
Oh, that'd be
Because
amazing.
I was like, yeah, I think I saw her basically fully done when everybody else
That's amazing. Do you think that you would like to cosplay her? That'd be great though. I
did.
feel like a lot of people would love it. You have like
Yeah.
something in mind, like maybe because I think it'd be great. You have like the same haircut
Yeah.
and it's you, so it will be lovely to see you cosplay her.
That would be cool. That would be cool if I ever go to conventions, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that'd be fun. I found in my closet some like of her colors, so I was like I rep some of her colors sometimes. But yeah, that would be. I mean, I do love seeing everybody else cosplay as her though, and
Yeah.
they do such good work that I'm like, this is your realm, and I
Yeah.
respect
Yeah, this is where, yeah, like amazing work that people do. And I love that the fact that
that.
people are so creative. And I'm like, I don't have
Yeah,
any of that. But like, it's amazing to see like fan arts and like people have cosplays and they jump into it
yeah,
right away. And it's so amazing to see how detailed it is and how
yeah,
creative it is. So I'm just like, I just keep on seeing Twitter or Instagram and see like all these, fan arts and cosplays. I'm like blown
yeah,
away. You had so many lines to record. Like there's so many that give. Sometimes it's just like one words that you have to re-record over and over again, different styles,
yeah.
and so it could be a lot. So, do you have any line that you kind of feel like that's the most memorable line, or do you have a favorite of your own?
Yeah, I think like I mentioned, the one that kind of stuck around since the audition process, for she's hyping herself up, saying
Yeah.
like, "And playing the game is Conduit, woo!" Oh, it's my turn. That one I always thought was funny and very, very much me, and I, the fact that it like stood out to them in the audition process just was really reaffirming of like, all right, like this, I'm glad I got picked for this character. Um, and a lot of the other ones is just where she's kind of being, like there's one where she was saying like um it like bring on your best memes because like I want to see them and
Yeah.
she's being genuine about it. She's like I actually just want to see them.
Yeah.
Um I always thought that one was really funny because I don't know, everybody's like really intimidating on some of these things. So her just being like
Yeah.
I genuinely just want to hang out with you guys and like and see how you're so good at this.
Yeah.
I really love that. It's very cool getting to play a character like this. It's also a little, you know, intimidating because I know that it is a very competitive game and
Oh, yeah.
you know, the people that are good at this are good for a reason. You know, they've put in the work. So um I'm glad that it does resonate with a lot of people and they do like the positivity that she brings and that, you know, she's not too much. There's still like a level of
Yeah.
groundedness and badassery, I guess, to her. But it is refreshing to get to play a really peppy character, actually, because I don't actually get too many in terms of voiceover where it's like the really peppy, energetic
Mhm.
girls. So this was a really refreshing change of pace for me.
And you've done such a lovely work, and people are really enjoying Conduits,
Thank you.
playing the character and like getting to know the character and like listening to her and seeing what she does. So, and you mentioned like, obviously the players that the game is competitive, players are like constantly playing. I'm not good. I die all the time. But like, do you ever think of playing the game yourself?
Yeah, so I do play. I try my best not to solo queue just because people leave
Of
when
course.
they see me. Um, so that's rough. And I do really love playing trios, but yeah, it's always a little when I'm like, I'm so sorry, I've died for the third time. I know you don't want to revive me, but like, what else are you gonna do? Um,
Oh man.
so I usually just end up playing with like my brother or friends that play privately, and I haven't streamed. I don't know if that's something that I would want to get into if people would want to see me playing poorly online.
I think
uh,
people would
yeah.
want you to play now that you've said. I think people would be like, "Yes, please." Because I think just people just want to see. It's not just like how you're playing. I think just want to see, hang out,
Yeah, just
and
having
have fun and see that you're playing and just enjoy that the fact that the actor who played this character is playing this game. This is so cool, and then a lot of people would want to jump into it as well. So it's just like it's a celebratory moment for
yeah.
it. And I think you'll like it as well. And since you're already playing it, playing the game,
Yeah, that's true.
do you have like apart from Conduit, do you have like a character that you think like, yeah, that character I would play? Like, is there a character that you would choose or pick all the time, other than Conduit though?
Yeah. I've definitely stuck around support. I liked playing Lifeline a lot.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing.
Like I said, I'm always needing healing, so she is always a really great character for that. And yeah, I think Melanie just does such a great job of her too, also just being like a really wholesome character and
Yeah.
um like supportive. But there's a lot of really badass characters that if I was better, I'd love to play Revenant or Rampart.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how effective I would be in those positions. Um,
I haven't played the other characters because you have to unlock them. I don't have enough to unlock them at the same time. But I do play
yeah,
a little bit of Bloodhound because even though
yeah,
he's like his ultimate has, I mean, I feel like sometimes I'm useless because I'm just running around. I'm just like kind of scanning people out and nobody says
yeah,
anything. Like nobody asks me to do anything. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna kill people, sure. But like it's fun for me to play the other characters as well. Like I think Octane is one of them that I just go around and just run. And there's so many amazing characters who have like this funny lines, and I just love the interactions and all. And it's just so awesome to have like there's so many characters now to pick from and to
yeah,
choose from. So I'm like, wow, that's a lot, and there's a lot of maps,
exactly.
and so it's really really fun.
Yeah, it's been cool seeing how it's like grown and stuff. Yeah, it's very cool. It's an honor to be on such a big game, but yeah, also kind of crazy to be joining, a little bit later as a legend,
Yeah.
after seeing so many, so many great characters come out before me. It's yeah, it's really been crazy, and I'm glad that she offers something it's funny. Like she offers something new, but also something very familiar because she
Yeah.
takes literally from like inspiration from a lot of other characters, like from Watson stuff
Mm.
and from um, like replenishing shields, kind of like Lifeline with the health stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, that's lovely.
what an evolution.
Yeah, exactly. And since you said that you played games, have you played any other game, or do you have like a favorite game or a list of favorite games or the games that you love the most?
Yeah, I like playing some, online multiplayer stuff. Um, like I think I started in 2017. Like I was pretty big into Overwatch
Oh, that's
stuff.
awesome.
So when I got ended up getting into Apex, which was like, another one where they building the characters the same way. I was like, this is so cool. Like it felt very cathartic. But I think especially nowadays when I'm less about getting good at a game, I'm just more about wanting to decompress and
Mm,
play games for fun. I do like a lot of RPG stuff or, story stuff. So um, I really love doing some like Final Fantasy
ooh,
things.
lovely.
I really like Persona, tactical stuff, I guess. Like
Wow.
if anything that feels like a puzzle, that just like me in my corner that I end up spending 15 hours playing.
Wow.
That's that's my jam.
That is so cool. Like I love when actors were a part of the game, playing a character, they're gamers themselves. I love that. It's
Yeah,
so cool that because they know that we spent like so many hours playing a game, and I
exactly.
just forget like it's been 6 hours and we're playing it and feels like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so it's just like so cool. I'm just so invested. And you like mentioned like Overwatch is like the game that actually I started more into multiplayer with Overwatch, and Overwatch was like
Mhm.
that game for me. I played it for so long. Ever since the demo came out in 2016,
Yeah.
I just hammering at it. I made friends from it, and so it's a very
Yeah.
cool game. And Final Fantasy is a game that I want to play. I haven't played any. Actually, I've played one Final Fantasy, but I want to play more. And there's like a lot of people are like,
Yeah.
you haven't played this Final Fantasy game. Like I know, like I want to play it, but I'm like
Yeah.
not able to figure out time. But there's so many
It's gonna
games.
be a whole trip. I'm
Yeah.
so excited for you
Yeah.
to take that.
Yes. Which do you remember which Final Fantasy game you got to play?
I came in pretty late with it. Like I think the first Final Fantasy that I don't even know if I finished it. It was Final Fantasy 13,
Ooh.
Final Fantasy 13 2. Those are like my first one. And I was like, this is so complicated, but so much fun. So I kept going with that. I played the Final Fantasy 7 remake, which
Wow.
was crazy. I'm very excited for the next one coming out and super excited for like the Buster Sword that we're getting
Yeah.
in
Apex
Apex.
Legends. Yeah.
I, we really kept that under wraps really well. So when that came out, I was like, that's insane. We're getting a crossover.
Yeah.
Absolutely insanity. Very, very exciting.
Yeah, I when I saw that, I was like, wow, Final Fantasy having a crossover with Apex. I was like, damn, that this is crazy. This is epic, as they
Uh,
say. It's so
yeah.
cool. And I'm like really excited for the second part of Final Fantasy VII Remake. It looks so cool.
Mhm.
As the trailer was amazing
Okay.
to see. And I was like, I know a lot of people like just their minds are blown, like, oh, it's coming. Like so I'm super
Yeah.
excited. I want to play the
Wait
first
for
part.
it.
Yeah, I want to play the first part and go to the second part.
Oh, you must.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Like, I know one of my friends was like, "You have to play it. Stop playing everything else." I'm like, "Okay, I will." So
Yeah.
hopefully soon I get to play it because I know that's a franchise I've not got into. So I would love to
Yeah.
experience the whole story. I know the story is like insane. I would like to go back in time a little bit and just wanted to ask like how did you get to prepare for the role for Conduit? Like, what did you get any? Did you take any inspiration from someone else? Like, how was your kind of research? What did you do to get to that zone? Like, okay, this is how I'm gonna do it. This is how the voice is going to be. All that stuff.
I think a lot of it just came from what I kind of tried out during the audition process. I actually ended up sending two takes in, one where I was, doing some of the words in Tagalog and some where I wasn't. And I think I did two takes, one where she was peppy and a little bit more in like my higher register, and then another one kind of like in a lower, deeper, more snarky range. But I think what ended up really landing and resonating was the positive, like the peppiness and the energy from that first take in the callback period when we were like kind of playing around with her.
Mhm.
And I think we had the callback. I waited around for like a week. I didn't know what it was until we got into the callback, and then we were like in the middle of it. And then one of the directors mentioned Apex, and I died. I passed out. I blacked out ever since. I don't remember how any of it went after that.
Uh,
Um, and I was like, damn it, now I really, really want to book it. That's what I'm not gonna book it. I just know it. So I waited around for a week, didn't hear back, and I was like, okay. I gave it a week. You're not allowed to think about it anymore. You were putting it behind you. You didn't get it. It's fine. We're gonna live in ignorance from now on. And then the next week they told me I got it, and I freaked out. And my main thing was, okay, as soon as we get the script and like see what's all going on, I am just I'm gonna just practice the Tagalog. So that was the big thing for me of like making sure that I could get as much of the pronunciation correct as I could. Just like hinting at my mom. I was like, "Hey, mom, how do you say this properly?" No reason, no context. So that was a big part of it. And then like I think emotionally preparing for it, I just kept like rereading the breakdowns that they gave me because they did a really great job of kind of going over a lot of her personality, a lot of her backstory in that breakdown, and just kind of finding moments here and there of where her vulnerability kind of sits. Where does this like positivity and this energy come from? And I think a lot of it comes from like younger sibling energy,
yeah,
which I have myself where I'm like, well, you're the older one, you have the responsibility. I'm just here to be a
yeah,
clown and have fun. Um, until she gets to a point where she has to take on the responsibility herself. And like I think it's one of those things like, well, what else can I do? Like this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I can do.
mm,
And so I'm gonna go full throttle on it. And just be the best Apex legend that I can be. And I think a lot of that, I feel a lot of that kind of like in my real life too. Because I'm the younger sibling of my older brother, and he was really influential in my life, and he loves video games too. So that's a lot of like where I came from. So it really is like a big deal for us. Um, and so like getting to be the younger sibling that's now like, well, it's my turn now. I feel like it really came from a very genuine place of like, hey, mom, dad, like, look, I'm doing things that you're see. It's not,
yeah.
I'm doing it, mom and dad. So I think I felt very connected to her backstory that getting prepared for it was just really working on finding moments where it is like actual vulnerability or stuff that she's covering up with humor kind of thing, finding that balance. And also, listening to gameplays that I could hear, and just getting the vibes and making sure that my energy vibed with everybody else, I think.
Yeah, and that's so cool. That's lovely. I love the fact that you were able to connect with your life as well, and that's so cool. Like now I can see that the parallels, and it's like you are a conduit. That's it. Kind of makes perfect sense. So what? So how is like a day in your life at that point when you're going for recordings to the studio? Like how does everything go? Like what do you do when you get to the studio? Because I would love to. I know a lot of people have these questions like, how do they proceed? What
Right,
happens?
like,
I would love to know how that process goes.
yeah. They were pretty early mornings, so it was. I'm definitely not a morning person, but I'm like for you guys, I'm whatever kind of person you need. So a lot of it is just like warming up in the mornings, being super annoying to all of my roommates, and just being like, da, 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 being like, I have to do this every morning, just to get in a spot where I feel comfortable doing the shouts and stuff. Um, and then like just reviewing all the scripts and stuff that I have gotten, try to get that done like the day before, or and then refresh again on the day. um I try to be kind of like as spontaneous as I can be in recording sessions too, just following impulses that you get of like, oh, this would be funny or like this would be fun. But I think my process, at least, I love getting a script in advance because I like kind of pre-making choices that I want to try out. Because otherwise, if I'm not thinking through stuff, sometimes I'll keep brainstorming after the session's done. And then
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, you know what would have been funny was if I did it like this instead of like this. Um, so I think I do like reading it and then
Mhm.
the night before letting it marinate and then thinking about it again right before sessions, just being like, okay, these are the things that I'm going to be saying. It'd be funny if like at this moment she feels really confident and then at this moment she's like, oh wait, like really flustered, or vice versa, or like weird little things that I can do here or there, or like um I think when I'm deploying jammers, I go like pew 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 a couple different times, and I do a couple different ways. And I remember we were in the recording studio and everybody was laughing. I was like, I'm glad it's silly and it works. And then Rob was one of our engineers. He had it on loop, so for the rest of the day, just every once in a while, he would just go beep 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 beep.
Wow.
um, Yeah. So
That's
chaos. That's how the day went. But yeah, it was 4 hours long.
that's amazing. I'm just so glad that you guys have fun recording all these, and that's pew 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 is the thing I'll always remember. Like that's the thing I want to hear too. Like that's the thing I'm always gonna
Yeah,
hear. Waking up in the morning, I'm gonna feel good about myself after that. Like it's so
yeah, I know. I'm like, I should just have that as my new ringtone. Just beep, beep. Like alarm. Beep, 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 beep. I start freaking out. I'm getting electrocuted.
Damn. Oh man. But I totally understand not being a morning person because it's hard to wake up in the morning, early in the morning, six. So for
Mhm.
some reason, I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? And then the weekend happens, like, I am sleeping till 12. And nobody's gonna stop me. So that happens a lot. What are your thoughts about acting in video games? Because for some people, they have a completely different thought opinion on it. What are your thoughts on acting in video games in general?
So I'm also doing a lot of on-screen work, trying to get, the ball rolling in that court too, because I do love doing a lot of on-screen work too. It's something I'm passionate about, but I do think that, a lot of times, especially in this industry, you end up gravitating towards things that you just genuinely love, which was voice acting for me. I didn't go into acting thinking like, oh, you know what, I want to be like a really big voice actor. I was just always like, that's the stuff that I really love. I love animation. I really like watching anime. I like grew up on a lot of that stuff. I grew up on video games and stuff. Like it's just always been very meaningful. And I understand that world. I understand the different genres of that. And so when I was just, doing auditions all across the board and trying to like, pick up whatever I could, voiceover was just something that I kept getting really cool opportunities for that kind of led me to this direction, which I'm so grateful for and I'm really happy about because I think that these two worlds are just always going to be part of me. I absolutely love voice acting and I love getting to tell these stories that you're able to tell in video games. And I love the fact that you're able to spend so much time with people and they get to really understand your character. I'm not like not maybe better than they would in like a movie or a television show.
Mhm.
I mean, because you're also spending a lot of time with them in a
Yeah.
television show if you're a series regular on something that goes for 20 seasons. But it's like it's a very intimate way of like them
Mhm.
getting to know them. So like to me, I'm very excited about voice acting in video games and mocap and performance capture. Like it's such a big world that I only think is going to develop more, that I'm really excited to hopefully continue being a part of. Hopefully continue to get like more opportunities to explore that world because I truly I do love it. I think it's it's a really beautiful way of storytelling that engages people, and like you get to be a part of so many people's lives that way,
Yeah.
because I feel like there's so like movies too, but I feel like with video games there's like this weird sense of accomplishment after you've done it that you kind of gone like through war with people with like these voice actors
Yeah.
that have been playing these characters, and I think it's just so cool what an impact that makes. And yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, the games, different games, different characters makes different impacts on people, and it's amazing how people have like so much to say. Like after like they see the character, they experience them, and then they're like they are able to share something from their life that they got to know, got to feel after seeing all of it, and then they're able to express and they're able to share. So it's so cool to see that part of it. It's so cool to see how people are enjoying everything, and it's amazing. that's that's
Exactly.
that's the part I love about video games, where you can bring everybody in together in this game, where it's people are here for game, just playing the game, and there are people here who just want to know the story, there are people here who just want to know the character. And so it's amazing in that way. And you were mentioning about anime, and I know like there's anime like like so many people love anime, and it's I gotta ask you if you have like a top three anime that you would love to tell. Like, do you have a top three in your mind? Do you have something like that?
Yeah, I was watching it a lot when I was younger. So I think some of the ones that were really impactful for me, like um Samurai Champloo was just like one of the coolest things I had ever watched ever. Cowboy Bebop,
Oh
I
wow.
really, really loved. And I loved the performances in it. I just thought they were so, so good. Um, and I've been really enjoying Spy X Family. Me and my partner, we absolutely love that show.
Wow.
It's a really wholesome one and like relaxing.
Yeah.
Um, so that,
That's
yeah.
amazing. That's so wonderful. Yeah, like I know like there's a whole insane world of anime which I myself want
Mhm.
to get more deep into, because I am, I guess it's it. I'm a big fan of horror, so I just the few animes that I've watched are like more horror centric. Yeah, and then I've watched some other ones which have broken my heart and all that stuff. So all the love story side of things, I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
So like it's just all that, like I just I'm crying, and I'm like I'm not I'm in disbelief for a week. I'm like, this didn't happen in the any other video
No,
movies I've seen. It's
it's so
crazy.
cerebral. It messes with your mind, literally.
Oh, it's crazy. Before we end this, I've got a few questions that the fans wanted to ask you. Um,
Um,
yes,
yeah.
so I got this some from Reddit, some from YouTube. So let's go them from one by one. Young Child Sawag, sorry for pronouncing your name wrong, but he asks, do you have a favorite Filipino food?
Too many. Oh my gosh. I love so much stuff. I love lumpia. I love sinigang. I love palabok, pancit. Everything ube. All the goods. All the goods. I'll eat. I have a little trouble eating some of the like stuff that I know they make with liver that's like super good for you. I That's the only stuff that I'm like, okay, I need to like prepare myself. But I and fish actually, I'm not a huge fish person, which is a terrible thing for a Filipino to say. But like I I've always been like a carnivore. I like meat. So
I am
all of
with
the
you
like foods
on
that
this. Like I don't like fish as well. It's like
yeah.
that's the thing. I'm like I remember like
Really.
a lot of people like even my mom like try eating fish. I'm like no, I'm not. No, it's too much. I just want to eat meat.
Yeah,
I'm fine with not eating that. Uh,
exactly. I'm a carnivore. I can't eat meat. I've been opening up to it,
that's
maturing.
cool. I am still not that there yet. I think it's gonna take a long time for me. Gilgamesh asks, "Are you a big fan of Apex like Conduit? Who's your favorite legend in Apex Legends?"
Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm Conduit's supposed to be a huge, great fan, so I'm probably, not on her level. I Like I said, I really love Lifeline. I think she's a really cool character, and I like playing her. I also think, like I said, Rampage is really cool. Or sorry, part. She's really cool.
That's
Sorry.
good.
Obviously not the biggest fan. Sorry.
That's okay. I like Rampart as well.
Cool.
She's pretty cool, and I got the opportunity to talk to her. I think she was actually my first guest on this podcast. So I had the
Wow.
opportunity to talk to her. So it's just insane. And
Yeah.
yeah, she's just lovely. And
So cool.
what she because she was in Overwatch too, and then she was in here. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, so cool.
No.
So
So like literal legend. It's
yeah,
it's like
it's amazing. Lexist asks, have you interacted with any of the voice actors in the studio? Um, if so, how did it go? I believe you could not be able to interact with any of the voice actors in the studio.
Yeah, I haven't gotten the chance to record with the other playable characters in Apex. I did get a couple sessions where I got to meet the person that plays my ate, my older sister, which
Oh,
was a really special experience because they have a very close relationship and meaningful like to me. So that was really cool. But I don't know, hopefully in the future that'd be very cool.
yeah, I would love to see you in conventions. That'd be great. That'd be great to like you to finally meet the actors as well. That'd be amazing. I think that should
That'd
happen.
be very
Um,
cool.
Cool.
Practical AD asks, do you improv any line or are you supposed to stick to the script?
We mostly stick to the script. If there's like things that inspire or like, leap off the page or then maybe like we add it. But I think a lot of like the improv stuff comes from different efforts or something, or like adding a weird laugh here or there that whatever. Um, but no, the writers are really good at making her just like a really fun character. So I don't know, maybe I'm not creative enough to think of
No.
like new lines to add, but I do think that they're pretty open to it. I may be wrong, but I feel like for some of the other characters, they've improv quite a bit of stuff. I think the Mirage character, he's so funny. They might have added some like lines from him, but
Hey, I feel like you're a really creative person. You've done so much cool stuff. So
thank you. Thank you.
absolutely. Uh, Guy by the name Masked Dancer asked, do you feel represented with Conduit? Would you change anything if you had the chance?
Mm. No, I mean, like I said, I feel very she feels very close to my heart, and I think she represents too um like I wanted to consciously kind of make the decision with her that I want to represent her as best as I fully can as being a half Filipina with my mom who came from the Philippines. um I I thought to myself like, she's Asian American or kind or like like she has like so much of her life has been influenced by like the Western culture and stuff. So I'm not going to pretend to be somebody that is actually like fully from Manila like that. I don't think she would speak with an accent type thing. Um like I think she hopefully represents a lot of people that I know here in the States that they are Filipino. They have, that Filipino heritage. They have their whole family that's out there. But at the same time, you know, you're living your life here like as a kind of Asian American
Mhm.
and have allowed yourself to be influenced by like the everything here and like the media here. So I hope I brought that level of like representation to be seen of like the people that they do identify as Filipino, but they also have this sort of like Western identity
Mhm.
that is different than somebody that would have been born and raised in the Philippines.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But hey, I think you did a great job regardless. I think you have done incredible work with all the lines and every single piece. So, I'm really happy that we got to see this character. So thanks to you, actually.
Thank you. No, I'm so glad that people have enjoyed playing her and all the love that I have been getting. Thank you so much, guys. Um, and yeah, it's very cool to come on here and just get to talk all about Conduit. She's a cool gal, and I'm so honored to get to play her.
That's amazing. Ghostos has a question like, were there any other accents or voice styles you tried before landing the one that Conduit currently has?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, as I mentioned, I think I sent in two takes. One was kind of where she sits now. She's like really peppy, really energetic. And another one that I tried, like I said, she was a little darker, a little snarkier. Um, I think she sat more like in my lower register where I do end up booking some other girls that are more like um I forgot the word, like brooding kind of
Ah, I see.
sense. And it didn't quite feel right, but I was like, it's a direction if they wanted to explore that.
Yeah.
Uh, where, yeah, it was a little more just like dry and sarcastic and snarky. Didn't see, yeah, it's not what we landed on.
I would love to hear that actually version. That'd be
Yeah.
great. Like all of a sudden, Conduit. I feel like that'd be great. Like Conduit, instead of like having that kind of like story where she is dying, she takes a turn and just becomes all evil and just goes in
Yeah,
that.
her
That'd
innocence is robbed from her
be...
and she becomes the villain.
Yeah, so it would be like that's what the battery did to her. I see. So it would be,
Yeah.
be hilarious.
Gosh.
Another person by the name Soccer Project, I think, called is asked if is singing one of your favorite hobbies.
I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's definitely a hobby. I do love to sing and I like but I don't know. I don't I feel like it's so much technique that goes into it that I have focused a lot on voice, but voice in like how can I be weird with my voice rather than like how can I be good with my voice. And so when I hear people that are really really good singers, it's so admirable because I know the amount of work that I put into just like doing this weird range of like different voices. I know they put in the same amount of work into like being good singers. So I love to sing kind of like on my own, but I yeah, I'm never one going up at karaoke and stuff. I don't usually burst out into song with musicals. Because I'm just not knowledgeable enough about that world. But like whenever I hear like my favorite tune, oh, I 100% like singing my heart out to the lyrics that I can remember.
Do you have
Yeah,
like a
it's very much a hobby, very fun.
that's amazing. I love that you have a hobby like that. Do you have like a favorite song that you like maybe listen to or something that you always tune into?
Ah, um,
I know that's a hard one. I
I
know.
have like a pump up playlist for sure. It's got some like Nicki Minaj on there. I think Kehlani Did I is like the first one. So whenever I'm like, oh my God, I have to get up in the morning, I always play like Did I? And it's just like, okay, I'm ready to like rock the world. Um, yeah.
Wow.
But otherwise I like a lot of um like in like alt rock kind of stuff. Or
That's cool.
yeah. Like I think Wolf Mother is another one that I put on one of their albums whenever I need inspiration and just
Wow.
like I need someone yelling at me to like be awesome.
Yeah.
That's the kind of music that I like aggressively positive.
Yeah, I hear you. I think in the aggressive tone I'm also there. I don't know if it's really exactly positive because I listen to a lot of Linkin Park and I listen to
Ah,
so but I also want that scream. I feel like I get that all the energy that I need. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
let's do it. And then when I get to do
like
it,
aggressively brooding.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's aggressively good. I love listening to it. Just
Oh
put it on shuffle and just goes through all the different songs, shuffles through all the songs. I'm like,
yeah,
all of it is
that's a good.
great. I'm just gonna just walk. I'm just gonna go for a long walk. I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna nod my head, and everybody's gonna think I'm weird, but that's okay. So
Yeah.
it's so funny.
Oh, that's great.
Shadow Ginrai asks, is Conduit adorable or just written that way?
I think both. I think like they wrote her to be like pretty. I think they wrote her with the intention of kind of being adorable, and I don't know. I find her adorable. Like
She's
I
adorable.
find her like really earnest. And I don't know. I don't know how many times I've said positivity in this last hour, but like I don't know. I think that that's just cool. I myself, whenever I'm in a competitive space, I hate getting too competitive and like too negative. Like
Mhm.
there's always these games where you have to like lie about stuff. If you ever played Mafia or whatever, where they're like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm not the killer." I hate playing games like that because I don't want to lie to people. I'm like, ugh. I look at them in their eye and they're like, "Are you telling me the truth?" And I'm like,
No.
"I don't know. I can't tell you." So, I think, yeah, it's just somebody that's so earnestly like happy to be there. I think that's what makes her adorable.
The Shogun asks, what has been the most surprising thing or change since you booked your role?
Ooh, um, it's a good one.
These people that have better
I
questions than me.
yeah. Oh my gosh, surprising thing or change. Seeing the response that people liked having a character that wasn't like the hyper competitive
Mm.
kind, because I was just like, listening to other legends and stuff, everybody is very much like, I'm the best, I'm like awesome, and I'm like, yes you are the best, that's correct. um but getting a character that's a little dorkier, I don't know, I wanted really hard not to play her too kind of fangirly,
Mm.
too just, oh my gosh, I'm excited to be here, but also still be a character that could hold her ground and is still badass in her own right. So I'm glad that it didn't go too far on the other spectrum that people find her super annoying.
Mm.
So that's
That's not
not
bad.
that the writing was bad. It's just like I didn't want to play her super annoying. So I think just seeing that people have noticed or like appreciate where the level of that she's at has been, I guess, surprising to me. Yeah, I don't know.
To be honest, I remember one of the lines which I was like, okay, she said that. It kind of hurts me. And it was like, if you need tips, I have a podcast. I know everybody has a podcast these days. I'm like, I feel
That's
attacked.
right.
So
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like, that's a great line. It makes perfect sense because yeah, there's a lot of podcasts these days.
Oh, that's funny. Yes, I do remember. I thought that was very funny.
Oh man.
But a good podcast. So
I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me about Conduit. And I want to say this again that you've done such an incredible job and being part of
totally
this
comfortable.
game and being part of this whole insanely big multiplayer community. And I know a lot of people love your character and are sending fan arts. I've seen so many of them, and just so all of the support. So you've done such an incredible job. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for being part of this.
Oh gosh, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. And yeah, super happy to be here and get to talk about Conduit. And I really appreciate you having me. And congrats on 50 guests.
Thank you.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you. Just one last question before we go is do you have a game that you would love to be a part of?
Ugh. Um, I think, like I said, a Final Fantasy game, that would be so amazing. Or Persona. Like I,
Yeah.
I want to be part of these like 100-hour long games where you're not gonna get away from my voice. That's where I want to be. That'd be my dream. You have to listen to me. Like, oh, you want to move on? No.
No.
That,
Oh gosh.
not without listening to my monologue. That would be yeah, part. No,
That
to
is
do
so
like an evil villain monologue in a Final Fantasy game. That'd be a dream.
that's awesome.
But to just, yeah, or continue to be Conduit. They'll just come up with new games and bring it over.
Oh yeah, I
She'll
would.
be in the next call.
Oh wow, that's so cool. Yeah, I would love to have that.
It's not Lord. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Don't.
anything can happen at this point. But hey, I
Yeah.
think there's always more content with Apex. I'm
Yes.
pretty much sure will be more with Conduit, and I would love to see you in like Final Fantasy or Persona, and I would
Yes.
listen to the whole 100 hours of your voice. Yes,
Yes.
I will do that.
Absolutely.